getting in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the only danger is up on the trim trail, historically there was brambles growing across, and that would have been a liability on us if children have fallen in the brambles. But if there's a risk that they fell in the green, then keeping the fence even in the state it is, with the associated undergrowth, probably is not a bad thing. And it seems an unnecessary expense just to put a new fence up, because that would mean clearing away all that undergrowth, which is doing probably a good job anyway.
What about if we did different fencing instead of having the chain? Why don't we have post and rail?
Like climb over that.
But you've got a fence there, haven't you? If you only had a post and rail, then the weeds wouldn't actually be able to have.
No, I think that one is about protecting the children falling over.
Yeah.
That one, if we put a post and rail along there,
He took his fence down and claimed it.
then we lose 2 feet or 18 inches or 12 inches of our land.
Right.
And also, to some extent, the chain link stops the kids kicking balls against
Yeah.
his fence, whereas if you got a post and rail.
It'll be straightforward, of course.
So really, I suspect that the priority we need is that work doing on behind the toilet block. So
Which is what actually he's given us a quote for.
can we authorise that one?
Sorry?
The work on the chain fence between the back of the toilet block.
The bit that Richard's already quoted
We
for.
got out for quotes against that, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but the quotes we've got are not for that. They're quotes for this lot down the side here.
No, but that was
the
why
long
we went
run.
out of quotes because we thought it was too much.
Right. Well then, okay.
Chris, remind me how much that was again?
Well,
That's
the smaller job is about £1,000.
1,047. 1,040 whatever to do that and the restraint.
Yeah. So maybe
Could that be restrained? But there is a gap, isn't there?
Yeah, no, that's going to be sorted out and it's going to be higher.
So it sounds like Heritage Landscapes is probably the best.
If we are going back out, because obviously at the moment we only have one quote for that, so we don't know whether it's good,
No,
bad or
no,
different.
that's right.
Did that include him ripping out all the concrete posts and all
Yes,
that, or
it did.
could we not simply leave those and put the fence across in front of them? Because ripping those out must be costing a fair bit.
It says this will require the breaking out of the old concrete post, subsequent disposal, and installing 2 new end posts, 2 intermediate posts, and a run of 8-foot chain link
You'd
fence.
probably find a concrete post will interfere with the end posts.
It'd be really messy. And they'd have to come out considerable as well because there's going to be at least a foot block around them. So he's going to have to come in another foot. Then he needs another 6 inches because he wants a foot block. So it's going to be 18 inches.
Under our rules and whatever, we ought to have 3 quotes, or sort of at least more than one, on expenditure over £500. So I think because we've had that quote, we need to go out and ask for some additional quotes we're doing.
So basically, it would be the same people. They'd be Michael LePage and Ian Morgan,
That as
basically.
well. And could I also, have we had a quote from Heritage on just restraining that? We have.
Yes, we have, and it's quoted £48 to replace.
We've accepted his one on that
Yeah.
and the gate down at the side of it.
Everything else will be accepted.
I wasn't doing that.
But that's what's 48.
Didn't want to come into the village until the gate arrived.
Right, okay. So really it's just 2 additional quotes on the chain fence here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to remind you that when he does come, I'm going to show him the gap in the hedge over behind Ivy Clad Hall, because I've got a gate for that. Chrissy sent me to put in by the side of the farm, and I said, that's no good. He said, I know it isn't, but you can have that.
Okay, well, I'll get that set up and get those
And
quotes.
can we just speak to Jason about spraying?
Yeah, well, he was just waiting for us to give him
On a
the
regular
okay.
basis.
Well, I believe you spoke to Peter one day when he came on the green. I think you had a chat with him, and he said it was best to spray all that stuff
That's right.
on the side, so we just need to give him a go ahead on that.
Do we have any concerns over children and spray?
No.
No,
If he's sensible about that, what's going there, it shouldn't be an issue.
Right, you just put a notice to say he's spraying.
But it's the same as if the farmers do it in the field, if you're
If
walking
you've got
on
people
footpaths, they don't tell you till you kill over.
Okay. Anything else on the green?
That stopped you.
Right, you're going to give us a report later. Okay.
Right, Now, the next thing
Item
is
D is wrong.
the review the report, which is, it's not the annual report, actually, it's all wrongly noted on there. It's the GB Sports Monthly report.
Right, sorry, was there anything exciting there?
No, I don't think there's anything on there at all, actually. Nothing that hasn't shown up, previously and we've dealt with. Everything on there is low risk, apart from one item, decks slippery. Now, I've spoken to the decks.
Slippery.
I mean, no runners.
I've spoken to the pressure washer man. He's given us a quote of £90 to do the pressure washing on all the tiled areas. So I just need to go back to him if we're happy for him to do that, and at what stage we want him to do it.
Yeah.
What time, in the year?
No.
Probably needs to do it.
It probably needs to be done twice a year, actually.
So he's just waiting for me to go back and trigger the.
You normally sort of treat it in the spring,
Spring cleaning job, and
and then perhaps in the autumn,
Well, I think
Yes,
it's
great.
September.
so probably September,
September.
and then come back in March or April. Sorry, Bob.
Is there any news on the from Jason in terms of the trip hazards and putting some soil in?
No, in fact, glad you mentioned that because he was there this afternoon. There's one thing I thought, because we got so bogged down with looking at all the other things, we didn't ask him. I will ask him again. If he can. One of the things that Jason said this afternoon, which I thought was worth just mentioning, is that he's tending now these days to concentrate just on grass and hedges only. Because he's had some health problems, he's had a lot of operations and so on. He's not doing any really what they call heavy work now. So in other words, if we wanted something like tree removals, or not that we'd probably ask him for that anyway, but anything really substantial, he's not into that now.
What about this, doing shrubbery and cutting back of the
Oh,
shrubbery?
that's okay. Because he regards that as part of hedge work already.
It's physically digging and things
Yeah.
like that. We strain the stone, that's all.
Yeah.
But could he could probably do the soiling round the mugger and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Just put some turf in.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll just remind him on that. Apart from that, there's nothing else on that report that
No,
shows up
no
any,
risks, good.
any risks any more than
We must, when did we last have our annual inspection?
coming up this month. They're doing it, I think, on the 13th of June.
Because I had a feeling my water is this month. Anyway.
Yeah, well it is. And it's the 13th of June.
Anything else?
No, it's fine on
Flood mitigation, I guess, is
I'm too busy on the green.
nothing.
parish surgery and police matters.
We had three people came to the parish surgery today. One lady obviously raised the issue of sundowners, and obviously we've attended to that. We had another lady who was concerned about the parking for the fete all around Church Lane, and last year apparently it was very congested and people couldn't move around there and cars were unable to. And she said, has that been taken note of for this year's fete? I said, well, it's not really a matter for the council actually, it's a matter of the police. If there's a car issue, a vehicle issue, the police should. But I said, I will probably just
From Church Lane.
speak to PC Wills and ask him if he can just come along and make sure everything's okay. Cars were parked all up around Church Lane apparently, around the bend,
I heard it won't be as popular this year.
Was only going to say, in terms of the police, when we do the fete, we notify them of the date so they're aware of it and they're actually attending this year and having a stall. So he'll probably be on site. So if there's any issues about that, he'll be able to.
But people will just park where they want to, won't they, to try and get
Having
that.
an early as well.
The other thing was a couple of other things I did say to her that I would raise at the parish council meeting. A couple of things. The lady concerned mentioned, general communications again between the parish council and the village. Well, we've been down that track, of course, and we've done what I think is all we can do to communicate with people. She was also concerned there weren't enough younger councillors. She was concerned that when she looked on the YouTube video, that it was full of basically older people.
Where did she come from? Might be interesting, because somebody said that to me.
But actually, I did say to her, one of the things I did say to her, we were having a meet the council morning in September, and it may well be that some fresher blood might come along and find out what the parish council actually does do, so that when next time we're looking for, in 2 years' time,
Not very flash.
there might be some more people. Was that the gist of it, Malcolm? Do you think that she was getting it?
Yes, it was really, yes.
We should be watching this, and if there's anybody out there that like my case,
Wave it to.
And the lady concerned also mentioned the fact that non-attendance, which obviously is something that's been mentioned before, was due to the fact that people that she had spoken to felt that when they came to say their piece at the parish council meeting, on occasions they felt as if they were shut down, rather than actually being allowed to really have their say. Again, Malcolm, am I misinterpreting?
Yes, she also felt that before the meeting we should mingle with the public. That's if we get public here.
I was always told that you shouldn't do that, because you're showing favouritism. Not me if I misunderstood it, but I was always told you don't come in the water.
Bob,
They even suggested that they should sit amongst us. So there was some rather strange.
Certainly in terms of sitting amongst, we couldn't, because the council is the council. Once the meeting starts, then that is the body that has to deal with it. The public are obviously there to see what happens, but they can't be party to that. So even if, so no, that all wouldn't work. In terms of what Peter said, he's absolutely right. I mean, with the planning committee at Sedgemoor, we're advised, do not talk to anybody when they come into the room, other than to just acknowledge and say hello, because the danger is, you may be talking about the weather, somebody else sees you talking to that person, and if their planning application is the one that you're about to discuss tonight, they might have thought that you're being lobbied by them, or you're saying to them, well, don't worry, I'll sort it all out for you. So there's a danger in whichever way. You can be seen as being antisocial, but the other way is you can be seen as being got at or
not impartial.
Exactly. So I think that is something you'd have
But
to
they
be.
can come and mingle when we have them meet the councillors.
Yeah, exactly.
She also says that
They can sit on your lap.
she also said that we should address the public, and I said that once the public have had their session, we are in committee and we are addressing the chairman and ourselves, so we don't address the public at all then. They can't reply anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
And the only other person I had was a lady coming from Station Road, talking about the highway issue regarding the affordable homes in Station Road. So she was concerned about that.
just going back to this communication point that was made, we had it raised by Jonathan at the last meeting. As councillors, can we actually say, hand on heart, that we can improve our communications in any way? Because I think we are doing more than we are required to do.
I think so.
I think so.
And it's very difficult to see what else we could do.
I think people just don't read the things which are there to inform them. They don't, they don't probably read them. The notice boards, and they don't read the Brent Knoll News.
And your phone number is published in Brent
Yeah,
Knoll
it
News.
is. I think you can't force people to do it, and they can't complain if they haven't done it. If it's there and they haven't done it, it's up to them really to inform themselves. Their planning applications are all there,
Yeah.
and they can go online if they want to find out. Anyone can do that. But maybe we should inform them. Maybe we should tell them that's what they can do. If they want to know what's coming up.
There's
nothing against that, is there? And I think there are other things they could do if they wanted to.
There's no way we can be criticised for not doing what we have to do. We have to do that and more.
It's interesting really, because I think if they want to be informed and find out more, if they
Do
came
something
to
about
our,
it.
if they came to our meet, when we want to meet the community, then they could come along. We're all there.
And how many came to the annual parish meeting?
Well, there we are, you see. Yes.
I've been on the council 25 years next year, and I've only been elected once. I've gone to Pop once, because there's only
It's after the wind.
very often there's not enough. You
No.
have to co-op people.
Were you going to say something about that?
I was only going to say, one of the things that we might do, and again, Owen, if you did a note, I know it's through Brent Knoll News, but the fact that you put the notices on the website, and that they can sign up for automatic notices, so they can be told it's gone there.
Yeah.
That even makes it even more available to people. So I mean, we've got the notice boards, we've got the statutory stuff,
Mm.
but you are already doing more than
Yes,
is needed on that. But it's just maybe flagging it up to people and
Yeah.
kind of determine how they can
Yes.
get a better access.
Maybe we should stick a bit on the end about the parish surgery to say that we,
Mm.
That's
Yes.
another point that they could come,
Yeah.
because it's open, isn't it?
well, to say that we've had people coming along to, and they've raised issues and it's been brought up on council.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, perhaps we could actually reflect some of that in the minutes, Owen,
Mm.
by saying, as prompted by the discussions held that, the council considered this and did whatever.
Well, put it as a heading, surgery,
Yes, well, we do.
a subheading.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Clark and
Clark.
Clark.
Just a couple of things.
Oh, sorry, police. We didn't have any.
No, we had no police presence at all, actually. Just a couple of points. One thing I just want to raise about the council's laptop. I think, as you know, I don't use the council's laptop. I use my own laptop with a separate user code and backup on a hard drive. But I'm conscious of the fact that we have a laptop in our possession, which I've got stored safely at home, which belongs to the council, and which could possibly be on offer for Malcolm to use during his time as a councillor. And it just occurred to me, and again, it's a matter for Malcolm really. I mean, Malcolm's the one that's going to have to effectively get a broadband connection and do a bit of work on it. But, I just wonder whether you felt, if Malcolm wanted to do that, whether you were happy for him to have the council's laptop to do that on.
Happy if he wants to.
Again, it's a matter for you, Malcolm, you can think about it.
Yes.
You don't have to make a decision now, but if you want to consider it, I'm sure David will help you set it up with Windows and so forth, and an email account.
If there's any problem, you know why.
But I just felt that Malcolm might feel as though he would like to be a little bit more involved in the to and froing of information, which might help him a little bit. But as I say, it is very much a matter for Malcolm, I think. You can let us know in due course, Malcolm, in that regard. The other thing is that I had an appraisal this afternoon from two members of the council, which the fact that I'm still here rather than this didn't go too badly. But we will be getting a sign-off for it, sign-off sheet, so that members can see that it's been done. With regard to the appraisal, it is meant and should be a confidential matter between those that appraise and the appraisee. However, you should see a signed document to say that it's been done, and if there are any matters raised or whatever, they were raised and it was signed for by the two appraisers. So that complies then fully with what we're required to do under employment law. So that's it basically. We did it, and I shall obviously let you see the signed document once it's been done.
Recognising that as part of the audit process, our external audit process, people are still asking those sorts of questions linked to risk. And so what we as councillors are doing to mitigate risk. Senior clerk, his new position.
Okay.
So to junior clerk.
Does that have any knock on to the spinal column points stuff?
No, it doesn't. It's just simply a process that we need to go through to really comply with our full employment package, really. It needs to be done every 3 years, ideally. So, and it's never been done since I've been here, certainly in 10 years, so it was probably overdue. Yeah,
I
exactly.
used to have one every year, and the chief engineer used to say, Osborne, yours is outstanding. I said, oh, thank you very much. He said, no, we haven't done it.
One of the problems we face is that a lot of the documentation and a lot of the pro formas that are available to us from South and SLCC are very much based around large town councils. They're not really all that suitable to parish councils. However, we've just picked out the bits that seem to be relevant and done it in that way.
The key elements really are, as we as employers have concern over the employee, and has the employee have concerns with the employer. Those are the key elements.
That's it on the clerk's matters.
Correspondence?
Correspondence, with what you've seen there, you saw the correspondence from Christine Sandhill. the correspondence that I sent to her,
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically the letter that I sent, which you would have had an email. You had an
Yeah, I got the email,
Yeah.
I didn't know what she said.
Well, basically Malcolm's provided, well, the letter there, you didn't see the original letter that she sent it, she sent
I
it.
don't know what she said, I should have.
If you have a quick look at it.
I forgot to read it.
Just have a glance at it. Malcolm's obviously written some notes down to respond, which more or less reflect what I've
Yes.
written anyway.
Why are we being singled out? Were they singled out?
I just think it was a normal matter of our
It was
consideration
commented
of hedges
passing.
generally.
It was just
Just
commented
a
in
comment,
passing.
oh, she's getting that something, isn't it?
It was a positive comment rather than...
Yeah.
And in fact, I penned a note that is attached to that saying that she should consider it a compliment on the good husbandry.
Which is effectively what I've written in the
Yes.
letter. But anyway, I put that on file just so we've got that for future reference.
You've written to Portland Place.
Written to Portland Place, that was the query that you had, Bella. I've written to them, and I have no response yet. They've recently gone out in the last
That's a
week.
highways matter, isn't it?
It's to do with the fencing.
Taking in land.
Yeah. And then the other item is the internal audit certification, if you like, for want of a better word, from Richard Young to say that he's done the internal audit and finds everything acceptable. So
This is the internal audit
Internal
from the
from
other...
Richard Young, the other clerk of Mark. So he's a recognised auditor, acceptable to the external audit company. So that's all okay.
Finance?
On finance,
I was thinking, I wonder where that
Let's mention it.
you have that list in front of you, which is because we were. I thought it was.
Sorry.
Can we go back?
Yes.
It's Portland Place.
Portland Place. That's right. What have I put?
Portland.
Portland. That's fine. I've got the right. I think I've got it right. I've just written it on there.
I thought it was Portland.
Yes,
It's
it is.
Portland.
Portland, as in the stone.
Portland
As
Stone.
in cement.
Portland Cement, yes, that's right.
Portland Bill.
And there's
As
a...
in Portland.
And is there a prison
As in
as
stone.
well?
Yes.
Portland Bill.
And his
Portland
missus,
Bill, if you listen
Portland
to
Bill.
the shipping forecast.
That's it.
I did a check payment list for everybody because this month is quite unusual in as much as we've written some fairly large
Yes.
checks. So I've actually identified them all in clear detail. Obviously the first four are our standard statutory payments. They're the ones that we pay every month, which we agree in April every year. Salary tax, GB Sports and Jason Mayo. And then of course we've got the large one there, the JD Pope. Now the one to Pope, of course, I just wanted to make sure you're happy with everything there. This was the Hills to Levels project. We've had now the second part of the granting now, so we've had all the monies in from Bath and West. And so we've had grants from Bath and West, grants from Axborough Drainage, Mr Dibble's contribution of 500, the VAT reclaim, which I've taken account of 3886. We've only had so far 250 from Clive Kidner.
Why is that?
Quite.
Well, Colin has been quite good in following it up. I mean, basically what happened was he promised us 500, but apparently he couldn't quite manage to make that payment. So he gave us a cheque for 250, and Colin is going to have a chat with him over the next few months and get odd 50s from him to make up for the 500. So we will get probably the whole amount eventually, but it's just going to take a bit of time, that's all. So in the meanwhile, it means our contribution will be slightly higher. And our contribution at the moment stands at 2159. Originally, I think it was 1900, because obviously it didn't include the extra 250 that Clive hasn't paid. So our contribution is as was agreed. So that big one there, £23,317, with your permission will be paid alongside the other payments straight away. And then that job is effectively completed.
So do we need to vote on each of these?
I think I'd like the statutory ones you can do separately. I think this one ought to be done separately because of the size of it, because of the importance of the payment. So if I could have a proposal second on the...
Sorry, propose please. On what? Second on the
Statutory.
Hills to Levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in favour? Yeah, so that's that.
Okay.
So we've got that one.
Now the other ones we've got is obviously Andy Selway for the painting, £990. That was another 140 to cover the additional painting he did on the benches and so forth. The parish hall, which obviously Bob and Bella won't take any part on this one, but that's basically a room hire. Now the only thing I would
Is
say,
that from the past or?
yes, but it's historical, you know, back in.
That's what we had.
That's right,
6
exactly.
months.
Yeah, it's about 4 months actually.
4 months, is it?
I did query one thing, and I'll be honest with you, up front with you. I queried one item, and Jenny made a genuine error there, because she charged us for this room at the annual parish meeting in addition to the main hall.
Right.
Now, quite a reasonable step to make, and I just said to her, instead of messing around altering her invoices and me altering the cheques and everything, if we make a payment this month, then she'll credit us on the next one. So we'll have a credit of, I think it's about £20 on the next invoice to cover that error. Apart from that, everything else is all correct. The other thing I also have to make sure that we're aware of is that, as we don't have many mid-month meetings now, unless I tell Jenny, of course, we get invoiced for that as well. But of course I can't let her know about that until we know we're definitely not having a mid-month meeting. And I have to say I was remiss about that. I didn't let her know about the May one that we weren't having, so we were charged for that. So I think we've got to pay for that because she wasn't notified to the contrary.
Yeah.
But I think in future, I think within sort of 2 weeks of another meeting, I need to make sure that she doesn't, you know, she can let it to somebody else. And then we've got the insurance from Cayman Company, and you saw my note going around about a 3-year deal to keep insurance under control, and the £20 for the audit.
So the insurance is going on what you suggested?
That's right, yes, a 3-year deal with Cayman Company, with the cover that we've had previously. No changes to the cover this year. So,
Except for the war, the
that's
included.
Yes, that's included.
Sure.
Yes, that's right. That's absolutely included. Because one thing is I let them have as an asset register anyway, so they know exactly what we've got on our village books. So that's basically that's
voting on all of those together?
Yes, please.
Proposal?
All agree?
Yeah.
All agreed unanimous.
Right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Agree?
Oh, and can you have yourself and Bella down as abstaining?
I've got those down anyway. Okay. Now, just one or two other things. I've had a provisional note from the external auditor to say they're happy with our external audit. I was saying to Andrew and Richard this afternoon, it was the most extensive external audit this year, 30 pages of completion. Much more explanation than was ever required previously on pretty well everything. And I wrote to them when I sent the audit off and asked them if they could ensure that they let me know that in principle they're happy with everything that's been completed, because there's so many new documents there. And they've come back to me and said they're happy with all the documents that have been. They haven't done the fine detail yet of the figures, but they're happy with the actual paperwork that's been returned to them.
Can I just say I had a misunderstanding of the external audit process. Having been an auditor, I was under the impression that they actually did something. It would appear that the process involved our clerk completing a questionnaire, which, as he just said, is about 30 odd pages this time, and they just take it as read. However, they do reserve the right to do a spot check. And I understand we haven't had a spot check in
10 years, 7 years since I've been here.
it's not so, though they class it as an audit, it's really self-certification by our clerk.
And they are taking some reliance, of course, on the internal auditor,
Yes.
having looked at the detail, the books, the cash book, the bank reconciliation, etc. So he's signing to say he's happy with it. So to some extent there is a comeback on the internal auditor if there is a specific thing that hasn't been done. So
I'm sorry to be pedantic, but is he aware of the issue that he could be liable if he didn't find something and it was glaringly obvious? So therefore,
yes,
has he got insurance to cover it?
I think he must have. I don't think he would do it unless he had insurance. I haven't checked, but I imagine he would have. But I will check that. Actually.
Because there has been a case on a much higher level, hasn't there, recently, where external auditors were found wanting, and they're not, the Crown Prosecution Service are now not going to follow up on.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think that's only hold to check actually. A couple of other things, budget updates you've got in front of you, obviously that's after effectively 3 months payments. And also, there are two matters now which obviously created some more income for the council. One is the community infrastructure levy, which we've now got £2,400 and something pounds for that, which we will get down on new builds in the village towards community-based projects. It's not just community, it's not play, equipment and recreation only, Bob, it's community generally.
Yeah, it's attention. Basically, the key word is the I in the middle. It's infrastructure. So it has to be something that is, it's not, you wouldn't expect to normally spend it on general running costs. It would be something that you're actually contributing towards. So it could be like the play equipment. It could be if the village decided it wanted a playing field and you want to put money aside to buy it. Equally, the school is talking about adding a classroom. Possibly the parish council might make the decision that they felt that that was important, they wanted to put some money towards that. So it's, as long as it's sort of infrastructure projects within the parish, that's the sort of thing it would go towards. I know East Huntsville are talking about they want to have a pedestrian crossing in part of their area and they're putting their money towards building up, towards helping to pay towards that. So it's that sort of scheme that you'll be looking towards.
So when we get this money, do we have to spend it? Is there a time limit on spend?
We've got quite a long time.
I think it's 5 years.
It's either 5 or 10. And they would be I think the expectation is, because you've got to be able to account for it later, so the expectation would be that you put it towards something that you can show there was a real need and demand for, rather than just being spent on running costs.
And I will keep a separate account on that as well. I mean, it'll be in our reserve fund, but if we do make any expenditure on it, I'll obviously set a separate account up to say that we've used it in that way. The other thing I sent off today for is the first of our 5 £2,000 instalments, which we got agreed last year for the solar farm. So I've been asked now to send an invoice because I was a bit concerned we hadn't heard anything. I sent an invoice off today and told we should get that within 3 or 4 weeks. So that's effectively £10,000 over 5 years. Which
Or
is,
a slightly reduced lump sum, isn't it?
it was a slightly reduced lump sum, but we went for the £2,000, and of course that has to be used on community-based projects. So again, not for maintenance.
Yeah. So that community infrastructure levy, Bob, is that a one-off this year or is it an annual thing?
It's that particular payment you had is a one-off, but basically it's a sum that is based on, I think it's £800 per square metre of development. So
within the parish?
Yeah, so the more, I mean, if you had an awful lot of houses built, you get a lot of money. But if you have no houses built, you get nothing.
So it's purely houses?
Yeah. It also, which wouldn't affect us so much, but it does cover things like hotels. It doesn't cover normal businesses, aren't covered by it. Big supermarkets are covered at a different rate to the domestic rate. And basically, it was another one of the government's encouragements to say, if you're having the hassle of having development, there ought to be some benefit locally, and that's their way of encouraging.
So in theory, we could. Sorry,
did I read somewhere there's a scheme where councils are putting money towards a bus?
Yes, I read that.
Yes, and I wondered if possibly we could look into
when you
putting
say
the money we're getting from the different things towards, and will you do it with 1 or 2 different other councils?
When
Would
you
you
say
do that? Or would you even,
You certainly could probably with the solar money. I'm not so sure on the community infrastructure levy.
right.
You need to double check on that.
Yeah, I just thought it might be worth beginning to think about that. If we're having money coming in,
when you say a bus, is this sort of to fund a minibus?
I'm not sure what
Because
it is.
there was one over in Bath Way where the parish contributed, I think it was somewhere in the order of £10,000
Yes, I didn't
to
think
subsidise an existing bus
that. Yeah.
service. But however, that £10,000 was only going to last for 12 months or so.
Yeah.
And at the end of 12 months,
Yeah.
you still have no bus.
No.
You
Yeah.
have to find a driver.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't work.
And that's
The
the trouble.
insurance, everything.
No. Yes.
Petrol.
But it's always worth keeping it in the back of your mind that something we could do.
Yes.
And that's it on finance.
Moving on.
Thank you. Right, matters for consideration. 2 recent enforcement.
Well, there was I'm just trying to think what the second one was. The first one was to do with the caravan in Hart Road. And I obviously know I reported that and Colin, what's his name at Sedgmoor? Arnold, that's right. Put up an application to look into it, and they have done so. But I'm not quite sure what the updated position is.
I think they're still following that one up. I
Right.
think the second one was the skip in Burton Row, where there was a lady who came and spoke
That's right.
about
That's
stuff
right.
being
Yes, it
dumped
was. Yes.
around the
Yes,
house.
that's right. That was the other one.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that the skip itself has gone.
Right.
Most of the rest of the debris has, but some of it is still there. But
Okay.
I think as far as Sedgmoor were concerned, the worst of it has been cleared.
Okay. Because in fact the lady who came in last time didn't come in this time. She was complaining about it last time. Didn't come in this time.
Neighbourhood plan and village design statement.
I had something here that was passed to me by Brian, who's the leader of the group, along with Mr. Harper, Councillor Harper, sorry, and Councillor Kennedy. And he said, will I pass this to you all and get an agreement? And he's only got 2 copies, so they're all other. What he wanted to do, I believe, is put this in the BKN, or it all ended up in people's hands so they could say as to whether they were in favour.
Is this the adult play?
Can I-
This is
Yeah.
the adult play equipment.
No,
We're on neighbourhood planning, village design.
Oh, no, I don't know anything about that.
This is Andrea's
Sorry.
baby.
Oh, wait, if I was to carry on now, that would save you coming back.
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, can I carry on?
You carry on. We'll go on to D.
Right.
That's exercise equipment.
Yeah, the Brent Knoll Parish Council is looking into ways of providing some outdoor exercise equipment on the village green for young people and adults. Children are already well provided for in that area. To have adult equipment encourages exercise in pleasant and peaceful surroundings. Spin-offs from such activities would give physical and mental benefits, thus increasing socialisation and fun. To have children, young people and adults sharing village green facilities in this way can only be good for the social coordination and ambience of the village. A group of parish councillors, who we were talking about, recently been to see such equipment. The equipment was in a compact space near children's play area and was impressive. Among the equipment was blah 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 blah. A photograph of the equipment can be seen at the post office. He suggested that we leave that in the post office. Before the parish council embarked on such a scheme, it needs to know what the response from the village would be. If enough people showed interest, then a consultation meeting would take place at which parishioners would find out more about the scheme and could express their preferences. We would ask you therefore to fill in the tariff slip below and hand it in at the post office as soon as possible. But what he wanted was the council's agreement that this is what we were after. So I'm shortly giving it out for you to read, and you all heard what he had to say. You all in favour of
He did send it out on email as well, I think. All
Did
this.
he?
I believe he did. I think I've got a copy.
Yeah, that's what he asked, as to whether he could proceed with the council's
May I have a
blessing
look,
for
please?
carry on.
So I think
And
we
I think he wanted, what he wanted to do was put a sheet into the BKN so that every household had one. But I don't know how, as to whether somebody would need to fold them up and put them in for it.
Oh, I can do that as a page. That fit in the
Oh,
page.
well, yeah,
So it's cut off
yeah,
the
that would
bottom,
be
so-
even better.
Yeah.
That would be
so,
better.
the real thing is, can we have a proposal? I guess you'll propose it for
I'm
Brian.
proposing it.
Sorry?
I am proposing it.
You'll propose it, thank you. And second, can we have a second? Thank you,
Second.
Cynthia. And can we have a show on those that support?
Put my hand up. Yeah, never mind, I will.
You
You
know,
pressured me to do
Thank
that.
you.
you know,
You lifted my arm.
So if I go back to Brian when he's back home next week, ask him, well,
Yeah.
can I get back to you, Bob?
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a bit of scratching out there. I'm sure it makes sense of it. I'm sorry, Andrea, I got it in.
Forgive me.
The only items that weren't on there, and I don't know whether we're allowed to talk about it therefore, would have been progress, if any, on the group, what do you call it, housing?
Yes, well, can I?
Are we allowed to talk about it?
Well, I think, I mean, it's not on the agenda, but I mean, it could be a matter of report of what the next stage is. We've got dates now, haven't we, basically?
Right.
Do you want to just, well, do you want to visual plans of consideration first? Is there anything?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything on the matters of particular.
Neighbourhood planning, is that how, what's happening about that?
Neighbourhood plan.
Oh yeah, neighbourhood plan, thank you, well, I should have rejected, okay, sorry. Yes, you.
Well, we got together, Brian and Colin and myself. We had some recommendations of development plans that we could look at. Ashcombe was one. Ashcott. But you are talking about 52 pages. It did take 3 years to prepare. There's a lot of information and analogies. There would have to be a lot of feedback from local people rather than the onus just being on the parish council. We debated whether it was a good idea to have a development plan because we are only a small village and it is really, for larger. Absolutely. However, if we were to go ahead to write a development plan, then both Brian and Colin said we would have to have the input of other people from the village. It shouldn't be just a parish council cluster meeting. It needs to be, talked about further afield, and that, some of the people that were very vocal over recent matters, that would be a forum, that they may well want to get involved in, because it hits the topics that have been contentious, and that we make a decision once and for all.
Well, we have two possible developments sort of spinning around.
It's not just...
It's nothing to do with that, I know. But there are two possible developments which may or may not come to fruition. If one or the other did, that may very well overtake any development on a further development plan. As you think, probably, if we actually manage to get one or other through.
It's not just on housing.
It's the whole principle of development.
Massive amount of work, and I did see that. But even a little village, Pumpton Bishop, they did one, I think.
They did.
I thought I brought one to the parish council.
Lots of people have done Burnham without, Bridgewater.
The real question is, it should be asked, is there a benefit to Brent Knoll if there is one? And we're met with a stony silence.
The comments we have had lately, maybe there is a benefit. Maybe the villagers will feel they're more involved in these big decisions, as they are big decisions.
Yes.
And that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. But equally, recognising, other than that, we don't have any input from other outside, it seems.
No.
It's trying to, if you like, weigh up the two sides of that argument. And I just find it quite frustrating that, where we get comments about lack of involvement, notification, communication, etc., etc. It's only when something is going to happen that's going to affect somebody apparently on their backyard. So it's a NIMBYism type approach. Because my worry is that it could be an expensive exercise because time is money, and the people that might sign up to do it out with the council might be all keen to do it, and 2 years down the road they may disappear or something. I don't know. But the question is, though, is there a benefit to the village?
So do we put an article in the Brent Knoll News? I'm quite happy to write that, asking the question about what a village development plan would be, what the involvement would be in the outcomes, and the involvement I'm not on like, you know, pages and pages, but, you know, asking for anybody for comments, you know, or any kind of interest,
Yeah.
for or against.
People, and people that would be prepared to volunteer
Yeah,
yeah.
their time.
That's right.
Yes.
It's frightening.
It's not necessarily driven by parish council at all, is it?
No.
No.
It depends.
Depends on other people putting that
You
on.
need to have a plan, whoever suggests it, you will need to have a plan as to how it will proceed.
Well, they would have to decide that when they get together.
Yeah.
There is a, you know, there is
Because
a,
obviously you're talking about the village, this has come to us as a, we're discussing it now, but I mean, it may be that the village themselves will just want to take up and do it. I mean, are we involved
Yes.
as a parish council?
Yes.
Yes, well then, that's
it is huge.
yeah, I was going to say it's a
But in the end, of course, there needs to be a
big
referendum.
project.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
And you have to ask yourself, is it really going to be beneficial? Because once you voice that, obviously, that subject, and invited people to come in, then you might find that it may,
But once we
Right, not much
have
proceed.
it, or have got it to a point that
yeah,
it's ready to go,
yes,
as Owen rightly says, we would have to have a referendum,
yes,
which would cost the village
yes.
£2,000 odd pounds.
Mm.
No, free.
It costs you, but through Sedgemoor.
Yes.
Sedgemoor would have to organise
What I'm
it,
saying-
but you, the village, doesn't pay for it, Sedgemoor
We're
pays for
doing
it, so it comes out of council tax. So
So council tax pays for it.
council tax pays it, so a proportion in effect is paid by Brent Knoll, but the whole bill wouldn't fall on residents of Brent Knoll.
So there would be a cost, but not a direct cost.
Correct. Of that.
Do other parishes benefit from having a development plan, because there's lots of people that have written them?
Not yet. I mean, in Sedgemoor, there is only Ashcott who has got a adopted development plan. The rest of them, like Compton Bishop, are village design statements, which was the sort of precursor to those, and there's about a dozen of those. There are, as you quite rightly said, there's a number working their way through. Burnham Without and Burnham are working on it. And again, that shows the way it's, the parish or town council has to be involved, but it doesn't have to run it. So with the Burnham one, there is a standalone committee that's doing the work. They'll have to then make sure they take it through the town council, and there's a couple of town councillors who are on that working group. So in a way, it's almost better if it isn't the parish council or the town council doing it, because you need that community buy-in, because that's the whole point behind it, is getting the community involved. In terms of the benefits, it does give you another document that when planning applications come forward, there will be something specific relating to Brent Knoll, where comments may have been put in terms of designs and layouts that are suitable, densities that are suitable. Often the other thing the government was hoping for with them is that parishes and towns would actually come up wanting more development rather than less. You can't have less, you can't go in there and say we don't want it. What you can do is say actually we think these couple of areas we'd like some more, because it would benefit us by renewing the village and bringing more people in and all that sort of stuff, which is a similar argument to what we've had with the P4.
Because I suspect there's some perception amongst the people that were raising issues over that if we had such a document, it could prevent the
Yes.
process, and that is not true.
No, that's not true, is it?
Because once we've got it
No.
done.
I think before anything is proceeded with, there should be a statement with the pros and cons of why we should go down this road. Somebody with some knowledge of this to outline to people what would be expected.
Benefits and
You know, are these binding?
Yeah. I mean, I think what Malcolm said is absolutely right. What would be useful is almost, I think, to do the sort of bit in the Brent Knoll News to see if there's any interest out there. If there is, then I think you need that sort of meeting where you get someone in, whether it be someone from South or the Community Council, because they help out with some of these things. Someone from outside who can then come in and say, well, look, these are, as you said, the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it will take at least 2 years to put together, judging by anything that else has happened anywhere else. because, and it's got to be done professionally, because ultimately it becomes adopted as part of the planning documents that Sedgemoor has to work with, so it has to go through that whole the referendum, but it also has to be submitted to Sedgemoor for them to check that whatever you're putting in there is right in terms of planning and fits in with Sedgemoor's plans. So it has to be a professional document. By the time you finish it, it's not an easy piece of work.
It's not a couple of sheets of A4 paper, is it?
No.
Sedgemoor won't have an officer, so they'll have to put it out to somebody they can
Printing.
do it.
I mean, to print that document, there's some of those two examples you've sent round, I mean, that alone would be considerable cost. But again, who bears that? The village or the settlement?
That would be part of the cost run by the village.
Yeah, okay. So there's
But there are grants out there that can help
Right, okay.
as well, so it doesn't cover the full cost, but there is funding out. Because again, government is still trying to encourage people to do it, so often they'll do a scheme.
So we'll have some more, so I think in the first instance, because if Andrew's prepared to do that, I think that'd be quite good
Very good.
as a stage one.
Okay.
You know, we are considering
Yeah.
and then take it from there.
What is the date?
15th of the month for the next one, and if you miss that one, the next one is September.
Well, I'm going to have to get it in for the 15th of June. aren't
Yeah.
If you could. Right, matters of report. Malcolm.
No.
David?
I? Yeah, thank you. No.
I have one. We did talk about giving Simon a grant.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Actually, Simon Lewis.
Regarding the damage to the crosses over Easter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a conversation with him on the telephone, and he said that it's actually not in his power to say yes or no. He obviously very delighted that we should have considered it. I said to him, you know, it's churches together actually, it's nothing to do with just St Michael's. It's churches together that organise the crosses, so therefore it needs to be something coming from the churches together. And I said, well, obviously, you know, we've had the discussion. If he likes to put an application in from churches together, or get somebody from churches together to do it, the parish council probably would consider it. But it might be worth them doing that. So that's what I said. So he's aware of.
Okay, so it's
aware of that.
it's
That's right.
so that it's in their corner
Yeah.
to proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. John?
Two small points. One is that there is to be a meeting of this, I don't know what you would call it, I'll call it a management committee, regarding Station Road development, which Esther and Duncan have got together. It's going to take place in my house. It will be on the 13th, that's next week. Malcolm is coming, and Cynthia's coming, myself. So we'll sit round the table and progress as they wish. I don't quite know how they're
I
going to do
thought
it.
Farnham was going. Was going on.
No, I just said it's just the three of us.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
that is that. And then one other very small point, and I talked to Owen about this. There was a group, we needed to put an advert, not an advert, to put something onto the diary in 2018. So I went onto the village website to see how one could make an entry on the calendar. And actually it says, talk to the clerk. And I think that's a very long-winded way of going about it, because what I ought to be able to do is to input directly into the magazine. But the magazine is directing people here to put their entries through the clerk. And I think it's a complete waste of the clerk's time.
It should be through a single person, otherwise you'll have everybody putting stuff on.
Which is the reason why Dave suggested it originally. But I take your point, John. It does seem like a bit of a
I don't think
clunky
it's
system.
it's the clerk's job.
But to be honest with you, I think Dave felt it was just protecting other things, just literally going on there without any consideration being given to them. That was the reason why it was done. Now, you know,
There's some rotaries on there.
I don't mind either way. I'm happy to continue to do it. I'm also happy if it's felt by the council. I mean, obviously I deal with the council matters, all council matters. But if it was felt that, you know, we want to change this, that's fine. But
I think personally that, something like that,
working
any
well.
website
Well,
should
it's a
be
question of
designed.
open gardens sometime next year. It's a group. Once you talk about open gardens, beginning in spring next year, Maybe we could bring him on to actually talk to Owen.
Before next year.
No, the point is that that website should be controlled, otherwise
Yes.
it would be.
But who is in charge of that?
At the moment, Owen.
Well, I'm in charge of it, although actually, to be honest with you, a lot of things that are on there never came through me.
Yeah.
So somebody else is putting things on there directly,
That's
because there's a lot of things on there that I never saw the light of day on.
So,
So,
who has access to the website?
Well, only Dave really.
I thought it was matters of report, if we put it on for the agenda,
Yeah, we could stick it on, we should go on for a discussion, I think.
then I can come.
Then Peter wants to go.
Thank
All right, because
Item for agenda item.
Yes, I've cycled over to Barrow over the weekend, and as I passed the field on the zigzag bend outside of the village, behind the village sign, I noticed in a horse paddock there a mound, an earth mound, and I thought that looks very interesting. And on investigation, in behind that mound is heaps and heaps of refuse.
What was this? I'm sorry.
No.
Riffraff.
Where?
Building
Sorry,
rubbish.
Fly tipping.
Not soiled nappies and
Fly tipping.
Flight to
Don't
Dave.
worry.
No, it's not. I don't think it's flight.
It's builders rubble.
It's hiding. It's hiding something that's
Can you tell me where it is?
yes. You know where the village sign is coming in on the Brent Road from Barrow. Says
Yes, sorry.
well, there's a field next to that with some horses.
No, I'm sorry, I
You
got
look
it.
at the far
Okay,
edge.
thank you.
There's an earth bank, and when I came back, I looked in the end. You could see that people have been dumping bricks,
Oh dear.
and it's obvious they put the bank there to hide the rubbish they're putting in.
Who
Well,
else
I
is
don't
doing
know, maybe the base of the stick will block something. Anyway, that's it.
Do we know who's the owner of
I
the
don't want to go any further because it'll make it late.
Who's the owner of the
I did notice some fly tipping in West Road.
Well, they fly tipped up in the plantation.
I don't need to know it, and I'm sure it's the owners of the property or,
Which is fine if it's on their land.
well, yeah. But you have to have a license, don't you?
Licence to.
Well,
Oh,
not
donation.
that.
Depends on what they're putting on there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
Cynthia?
No.
Well,
And then very briefly, I mentioned to Owen a little while ago about the pavement up at the Fox and Goose, where it's all grown out. And Owen mentioned that unfortunately it can't be done by Jason. Basically what's happened is just over the years, the width is more than halved in places. And I wonder whether it might be worth sometime over the summer just having a working party up there just to scrape it back and clear it.
Is that just right on the pavement going?
Along to Hale's Hedge.
Yeah,
But
oh,
it's
it
not
is,
his
it's ever
hedge
so
that's causing the
narrow.
problem, it's just it's the verge that's grown
Yeah,
out.
it is, there's not much room to the
If
side.
anyone else has changed.
End up in the hedge.
Peter?
Sorry, I know I wanted to go, it was reminding me of something else. On the village green, keep clean bit, it comes along by the Bodies Trust field. I wondered if he could go around, we could consider it next year, go around as far as the dog bin, because I noticed that it's hidden all in grass and greenery now. And people could get stung putting their dog mess in the dog.
Talking of such things, I just remember Jed Keel approached Colin and myself about trying to get Jason to do some more cutting up at the church again. And Colin was going to go and have a look at it, but I don't know anymore. But I thought we'd been down that route once
Yeah.
last
Well,
year,
let's
didn't
do the wildflowers.
we? It is.
Well, we extended the contract anyway. didn't we?
He's supposed to have cleared that area. He said he had. I got a report from him saying he had cleared it.
Okay.
Jed?
So, anything else on matters reports affecting end of meeting? And we'll see you on. So you switched off, Bob?